Alright, so first of all, I want to apologize for any wind noise or jets or anything that flies overhead. And my camera being a little shaky. I'm doing this just on a phone. I'm doing the best I can to hold the camera straight and everything like that. And I can't help any of the noise. And this is all one shot. I don't have any editing software. But with that out of the way, this is a 1988 Chevy Spectrum Turbo. Now, jet, as I said. If you've never heard of a Chevy Spectrum Turbo, then yeah, you're not alone. A bunch of people have never heard of this car. They've heard of the Spectrum, and if you've never heard of the Spectrum was basically a Chevy slash Geo rebadged car. It was originally a Isuzu Jammy. Started with a G, something about that, and they were sold over in Europe and Japan. And this particular one is that. It's a rebadged version of that with the turbo. It's a Yami Turbo. And these are very, 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 very rare cars. You do not see these at all, ever. This one obviously seen better days. As you can see right there with the makeshift window I have put in place that has got a rip in it. Or had that happen. In the efforts to keep the interior from degrading farther than it already has. Because this car has sat back here for the better part of 2 decades, or close to it. It's been about, I was told this car has been sitting for about 15 years. And I worked out a deal to where I'm going to buy it for $400. I don't know when, because I know the owner. I know it. Because it was just abandoned up here. So it was originally going to get, the reason it got parked back here was, jet. We done? Okay, I think we're done. Well, anyway, the reason it was parked back here was it was originally going to get worked on for the turbo, because the turbo went out on it. It shows you how good these cars were, which I say that, but these really were good cars. The Geos, Chevys, these little rebadged cars, they were good cars. But the turbo did go out, so it's been back here ever since. The guy brought it up here. The guy brought it up here, said he wanted the turbo fixed, and then never came back. Didn't even get the turbo ordered. So it just got abandoned. Pretty certain nobody's ever coming back for this car, so he's going to get a mechanic's lien on it and get a new title reissued. And I'm going to do a complete restoration of this car eventually. I do apologize. They must be training today. But anyway, I'm going to do a full restoration of this car eventually. Well, kind of. I'm going to restore it to where probably not back to factory. I'm going to change a couple of things. But I'm probably going to leave this paint job, even though I'm not a massive fan of the gray. It was called gun silver gray, or gunmetal gray with orange striping, which the striping has, decolored over the years. This is an 88, and some of the production specs of this car, as I was going to say, it's 110 horsepower with 100 foot-pounds of torque out of a front-wheel drive 4-cylinder that's an Isuzu 1.5 liter. And I've got the hood popped already because it's a pain to open. And as you can see, it's most likely going to have to get pulled out and rebuilt with everything redone. As I said, I am going to do a complete overhaul on this car when I get to it. As that being said, right now, I don't currently own it, but I know it's not going anywhere. I know it's not going anywhere. So I know it's not going to go anywhere unless the owner comes, which I very seriously doubt that. And some of the things that this car has is, of course, that window's broken. It almost got crushed by a tree. As you can see, the camera doesn't really pick it up all that good, but it's got a big dent, even though it's not. I think it could be pulled out and beat it out because little car, because it's a real smooth dent. But this car, its life, sort of, was saved by this little Mazda Tercel. As you can see, it's pretty bad right there. And, okay, other than the window being broken, all the glass is good on this car. I'm going to have to redo the interior. And all that and such. Now, it did originally have wheel covers because this thing never came with alloy wheels. That was too expensive of an option. That was too expensive of an option because in '88 this car retailed for $10,068. Brand new. 10,000 bucks, which you got to keep in mind. This car they probably didn't make but a couple hundred because it sold poorly. I can't find any information about the turbo other than it's known to exist and I can find a sales brochure. I found one video of one, but it's not clear if somebody just put a turbo on a Chevy Spectrum or if it was previously a turbo. They didn't make it clear. And it didn't really have a description. So as far as I know, this could be the very last surviving example, or quote unquote surviving. It's not really surviving. It's junkyard condition. But it hasn't been crushed. Turbo Spectrum. Chevy Spectrum. And it was a gasoline 4-cylinder, 1.8 liter, 1.5 liter. You can't see the trunk because it's got a bush grown over it. It'll die out. And we've picked up the underneath of the car. The undercarriage is pretty good, minus a rust spot right on the rear floor pan, right over here. It's missing all the door handles but one. It's in pretty rough shape, to say the least. What else was I saying about this car? Oh, 0 to 60 time, yeah. The 0 to 60 time of these cars was about, like, I want to say, it'd do it in 10 seconds. Which was pretty fast for an economy car, for a upper trim level of an economy car. Oh, I just noticed. I just noticed it's never was supposed to have a door. It was never supposed to have a rear view mirror right there. I'll go ahead and open up the door. It was a 5-speed, hooked up to a 5-speed manual transmission. No, hold on. Might be a 4-speed. I thought Geo's only had 5. Nope, 5-speed. Hooked up to a 5-speed manual transmission with bench seats in the front. And all kinds of spider webs and everything. You know, very cool. You can actually look at yourself in this car, though. So that's nice. It even comes with an aftermarket Pioneer cassette tape in the bottom. Again, sorry for the shaky camera. I'm trying my best to stabilize it. And I'm pretty sure this car was pretty well optioned, considering it is a turbo. You had to get every single option for a turbo year, for the turbo model, and this was only made for 2 years. They made the Spectrum for 4 and the Spectrum Turbo for 2, 88, 89. Those are the only 2 years they made. I have no idea how many they made. I can tell you how many are on the road right now, at least from what I looked up. 0. That's not an exaggeration. There are 0 of these cars registered on the road. None. Absolutely none. None of the Spectrum Turbo package. Is it possible that there could be 1 or 2 that are like mislabeled? Could be. It happens sometimes. But that being said, this car is incredibly rare. It's not valuable. By no means is it valuable, but it's incredibly rare. And it needs to be preserved. It needs to be. It's one of them cars that is just something you're never going to see again. And honestly, truthfully, the best thing to ever happen to this car was it probably blowing its turbo up. Because had it not blown its turbo up, this car would have got killed by cash for clunkers. I guarantee it. A lot of them did. There are a lot of cars that probably went extinct along these lines because of cash for clunkers. So the best thing that have ever happened to it was it to get abandoned and sit for 15 years. For me to find it, probably. I know that sounds crazy, but I really do think had this car not blown its turbo, it would have got scrapped. It would have got turned into the Cash for Clunkers program, its engine would have got filled with concrete, and then it got crushed. I'm not opening that fuel door. I don't want to get it bombarded by wasps. And it's not all that rusty. It's not that bad. But it does need to be restored. At least I believe so. As a preservation. Some of the things that I'm going to not have factory is I kind of want to change the front seats out to some Recaros out of an iMark, because this has the same engine and is based off of the Isuzu iMark platform. This one is not a rebadged iMark. The rebadged iMark is called a Chevy Sprint. It's called the Chevy Sprint Sport. This one is a Spectrum Turbo. This is the Iguami, like I said. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I would show an image of it on screen of the Recaros, but I have no editing software, so if you're curious what those look like, or what an iMark looks like, or what a Iguami looks like, again, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably butchering the name. It's a foreign name. I have to tell you, just look them up. I don't have any editing software. I do apologize for that. And with that being said, I've rambled on for long enough. So before I end the video, before I tell you thank you and everything, if you know anything about this car, or anything at all about a Chevy Turbo Spectrum that I can't find on the internet, because there's only like 5 pages of information on the entire internet of this car, please, please, please let me know. I would love to know. I would absolutely love to know as much information about this car as possible. But with that being said, if you like this video, you at least like hearing me talk, yada yada, please consider please consider subscribing. I'm trying to do this more frequently. I'm trying to do this more professionally. I know I can't really on the level I'm at, because I don't have any tripod or anything. I will eventually have a running car. I'm working on a 1974 Caprice Classic. That has a built 402 going in it. And it's almost done. I'm missing the carburetor. I'll be able to start. But with that being said, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And share the video with anyone you might be interested if you want to help the channel. And thank you for watching, and have a good one. Sorry for the shaky cam again.